On-the-scene coverage of ACC.14 is supported by Janssen Pharmaceuticals Incorporated.
I'm Peter Block here at the ACC annual meeting in Washington, D.C. We're reviewing the late-breaking clinical trials. I'm here with Jennifer Robinson from Iowa, and she is yet again another investigator looking at what's actually become very important, it seems, the anti-PCSK9 drugs. Jennifer, your trial is a little different than the other trials we've already reported on. Tell me what your trial is.
Our trial randomized people on either a high-intensity statin or moderate-intensity statin to evolocumab, placebo, or ezetimibe. So we were actually able to compare relative efficacy to ezetimibe.
So you added it to patients who, in fact, were on pretty good doses of anti-lipid agents.
The mean LDL coming in at the end of the lipid stabilization period on the statins was about 109.
Okay, so in the past, I've learned anyway today from the late-breaking trials that anti-PCSK9 drugs are pretty cool drugs. They work.
They work really well on top of statins. In our trial, they lowered LDL another 65 to 75% in both moderate and high-intensity statin-treated patients. And that was much more effective than ezetimibe, which lowered LDL about 20-25%.
Another part of your trial, which I think is probably going to be critical going forward, tell me if I'm right on this one, is whether or not you give it once or give it every 2 weeks, or what's the dosage regimen here? It seems as though the dose may not be so important.
Not really. Every 2 weeks, 140 every 2 weeks or 420 once a month had similar efficacy, similar safety. And I would point out, on top of high-intensity statins, they got LDL down to about 35 milligrams per deciliter on average on top of high-intensity statins. About 35 to 40 on moderate intensity statins, both the Q2 and the Q4.
Well, that's awesome. That's the really low LDLs that a lot of people have been talking about. We finally achieved that. Okay, so give me a take-home message here, Jennifer. What do you think your trial should tell the cardiologists out there?
Well, what it tells us is that in the setting of the current guidelines of moderate or high-intensity statins, we've got an effective non-statin LDL-lowering agent to further lower LDL in those who need it. Those will be probably the genetic hypercholesterolemia people. In those who can't tolerate a high-intensity statin, you've got an excellent alternative for a non-statin to further lower LDL.
I think for the statin-intolerant patients, this is going to be a real breakthrough. However, having said all of that stuff, tell me about what the real question is here, and that's the outcome question.
Right. The proof of the pudding is, does lowering LDL on top of optimized statin therapy further reduce cardiovascular events, and is it safe?
And that's going to be the next trial?
It's going on right now. It's called Fourier.
Okay, so we have to wait for that one as far as outcome is concerned, but for now, Jennifer, this sounds pretty promising.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.